Hi guys, Natalie here. Only one United. Um, with Andy, with Mia today, we've got coming back to a big debate, Devil's debate. And this time it's not about the midfield; it's about the forwards. And it's a topic that has divided a lot of people. I think it sort of did start with me chatting on All for United and saying I actually do like Leslie pulling out wide and crossing it. I think it even started from the Brighton game when she assisted Vilda, and Vilda was the sort of one who was the most further forward. But I think when we've seen Leslie play in the big games, it's just not looked right. And so obviously that's what we're here for today, to debate it out. Where's her best position? Where's all the forwards' best position? Andy, how are you doing, mate? Thanks
Not too,
for joining us.
not too bad. Always good to be on with you, and nice to be on with Mia as well.
Yeah, everyone loves being on with Mia. She's the queen of
My first
analysis.
time. That's what I mean. I'm not worthy.
Yeah,
I just see you on Twitter, and it's good to see the real person.
yeah. Mia, thanks for joining us again. And I think you sort of sparked this from our last podcast. So are you excited to be having this talk today?
Yeah, I'm always excited to talk about Manchester United.
Good.
I
Aren't we
think
all?
I'm still waiting for to upset your fan base
Oh,
like a lot, so you won't speak so highly of me every time because
We
yeah,
we're pussycats, really. We've got
yeah.
this there.
yeah,
Well,
it makes me uncomfortable to be so
this one,
such a good person in this. I'm gonna change that soon. Yeah.
I think might upset a few people though. This debate, because I have seen people get really upset when you say, Leslie is not better on the wing, but is more suited to that maybe than an out and out number 9. And obviously you said it, Mia, and I just want to, I suppose, come to your views on it. Versus Reading, I think she was down the middle. She did look like that out and out, but there was times where she did drop a bit deeper. I think if you see Leah's goal, she was, in that centre circle, paid Leah through, and Leah scored. And then obviously her goal, she was on the left or right, and then whipped the ball in. So it's like the best movement is just outside the box, just on the, you know, the line, the penalty line. What do you think when you see Leslie play and the way that she's played so far for Man United?
You're talking to me now, right? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I think that I actually we did. I'm gonna say this now because I have this in my mind. We actually did record a podcast with Fridolina Rolfö this Friday for my own podcast. So we actually kind of spoke a little bit about the fact that what makes people in a team work, and we have spoken about this before, like because it's a lot about movement towards one another when Barcelona play football. If they sort of like know where the other person and player are before they even get the ball. So I think it's about the fact here as well, because I agree with Ian Wright. I think he wrote something about the fact that Alessia Russo is not a proper number 9, but that doesn't make it's not impossible for her to play the number 9 role if she has to. It's not the same. I feel like people mix those things up a little bit, because you can have players like Stina Blackstenius and Signe Bruun who both are proper number 9s because they are strikers and they don't know anything else. But then you have like players like Russo that can manage to play different positions, and I think that's kind of a gift more rather than I don't get why people have to have the discussion about her playing the number 9 or not. I think it's a gift that you have players that can play in different positions rather than why, like, being angry of a coach for playing her on the wing for one game and then for the next game in another position, because I think players that can master different positions, that's great.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I suppose I want to touch to you, Andy. I mean, when you do see Leslie on the wing, and I want to touch on the City game most of all. I mean, I think everyone played badly that game, but I just think we didn't get the best, and we didn't see the best of Leslie, considering like the 2 Arsenal games before when she had been more the focal point, and then she got 2 goals. Comparison to that City game, it just wasn't good enough. And I think said, she was wasted, which I do see why they did say that. I mean, what's your view, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I get exactly what Mia's saying. I mean, the ultimate irony benefit is you have a player that can play in multiple positions. You've got multiple chess pieces essentially. But I think from a a fan point of view, when we see her on the wing, she feels neutralized. It kind of feels like she's like mucking in, to use an English idiom. She's not really meant to be there, but she's kind of making it work. And I've always wondered whether or not that was because we entered the season with very, very light with strikers. And I always said in other areas that I reckon that Marc Skinner was either told or said to himself in the mirror, this season you're either going to be really weak in defence or weak in attack until at least January. What do you want? And he's chosen to be weak in attack up until January when he managed to get Bruun in. And I just think, I mean, from sort of what I've seen with Russo, I just wonder whether or not the pushing her to the wing became more of a thing because Leah Galton was off form until arguably the game we've just watched on in Reading. She was our, like, the word winger is stamped to her forehead. She was, the winger that was an attacking threat, but she was so off boil. And I think there was a mixture of that and a mixture of the fact that for a long time we ended up playing Tooney as a false 9, and we didn't really have, and Russo had no real service, and she was most of the time the only person who's ever defined as a forward on the pitch, apart from the time when Martha was around. So I don't know whether or not her playing on the wing was a necessity, or whether or not it's something, as you say, that she provides. But if she provides something on the wing that she doesn't provide in the centre, in the 9 position, I can't see it so clearly. Now, I could just be, could just be me, but that's I think where this has come from.
Yeah, I just think I mean, what do you say when you hear Andy saying that? Because when I look at Russo, I agree with what he's saying. She's stifled, and I don't know, but then she does provide the creativity from that, from what Mark said, being fluid, from being able to move across the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that because I mean, you haven't played that many games now, so we have to go back to the games before Christmas, because I think you would probably say the same. I heard a lot of people talking about, what is Tooney doing out on the wing? But then you had Stanifort and Ella Toon playing on the wing, and you had Alessia Russo playing number 9, and then you had Vilde Berisa as the 10. But then there you have it. You can have 2 wingers that have the abilities to play and cut inside, because a proper winger, you have Leah Galton, she stays on the wing because that's her role. I would say that I think that Leah Galton perhaps she can play as a fullback as well, with the abilities to stay wide and go forward, but she's probably not that flexible as a player like Russo. So when you have these, you could see what they were trying to do, playing Ella Toon and Lucy Staniford out wide with Alessia Russo as the number 9. But when Staniford, who isn't a winger, had the ball very wide, you could see that the movement from a player like Russo is not completely natural in that number 9 position. You have to move towards the posts, maybe to meet the ball, and then you have Stanford and Toon that aren't wingers. So you may have to be even more certain about the fact how you move. But the thing with that game, I mean, I think it was 2 or 3 games with the playing style like that, because then Stanford got injured. But you could see what they were trying to do. They were trying to play very fluid. Like the movement in the attack, you could never, they were always going like with full force with 4 players into the box. And when you have like you play like 4-4-2 with 2 nines, like, or you have Bruun on the pitch, you can see that sometimes the gap between the midfield and the attack, it's not enough people in the box when they have the ball up. So and I kind of prefer to watch. I thought that Manchester United have probably never played so good during those games. People can say whatever they want. Oh, it was just Everton and Aston Villa. No, it doesn't matter, because it was the game. It was the kind of style they played that was the good part.
Yeah.
Go on, Andy. Do you want to?
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I say, it's hard to tell because he came in so late. I think there was an element to the valuation in that first part of the season. He was trying to work out who plays best where, who's on form and who isn't. There was a couple of curveballs that he got thrown. Leah Galton was, I'll keep going back to her, I will move on for a little bit, but she was on fire last season, but really slow this season. So then he maybe had to look at other options, because you say she's a nailed down winger. I suppose the ultimate would be to clone her and have one on one side and one on the other. But obviously you can't do that. I mean, and there was discussions about, Vilda Berarisa, wasn't getting the game time. And obviously we lost Martha Thomas for a while. And I think, I'm listening to what you're saying. And I agree. I remember the amount of times, we're on the sideline and we're watching, a great run, ready, and the first thing I might hear, mostly Nat actually next to my ear, say, who's going to help her, who's in the box, because we're quite good at getting that down the line, but there's no one there to swing it in. And I suppose what and maybe other people that maybe think like me were thinking of is like, Russo scores. So if she's your scorer, irrespective of where she positions, if he actually puts the ball in the back of the net and you've got her on the wing, then where's the goals going to come from in the number 9 position? Because I would, I know she has scored when she's played centrally. So I'd be, for me, it's more like I'd rather have her, maybe embedded a bit as a number 9, because nobody's saying that Tooney's a number 9, but she basically played like it for a couple of months when we had no other option. And then trying to work out sort of that winger problem, maybe, with the midfield dilemma the other week, maybe this is the winger problem to an extent. But I think with Russo, I think, again, it's more just about passion rather than logic. You'll know more from a footballing perspective, but I think probably forwards or strikers are the most confident players, apart from goalkeepers. They need that confidence. So when they start banging it in, when they start scoring the goals, goals breed goals. And you could possibly argue that's why, I know Bruni's injured at the moment, but that's possibly maybe why, she's a goal machine, but hasn't started yet for Man United, because she's yet to break a duck. She's yet to get confident. And yes, I will score for Man United, and I'll score more than one. Whereas Russo scores quite regularly. And I think that's why maybe some of us that aren't as technically minded want her in the position where we've seen her score before. But, maybe she does have a role on the wing.
But then let me ask you this question, because does it matter which position a player plays if they score, no matter what? I think sometimes we feel like, I mean, sometimes we talk about the number 9 position as a position a player has to play in, like no matter what, because I feel like Russo is that player, Ella Toon is that player as well, that will score for you no matter what position she plays. And this is where I'm seeing, like, what happened when Signe Bruun came in. It was the fact that you had to adjust a system and formation around the number 9 in a way that perhaps Marc Skinner didn't have to do before, because he hasn't had a proper number 9.
Mia, what's your opinion on Signe Bruun? And then I suppose Martha Thomas, because what we've seen the last 2 games is Russo down the middle, Thomas as the wing, but obviously being in a fluid way where she's moving. And obviously Leah, even we saw Leah Galton for her 2 goals on Reading. It was a Hannah Blundell cross, and Leah Galton went into the middle and headed it. So Leah was sort of that, if you're gonna earmark anything, was playing as that 9, was in the middle, was picking up the balls. Do you think that Bruun can play like that, can be fluid, can pull to the wide, or do you think Bruun is more direct, will always stay in the box, will always stay, that 6-yard box? You know her better than, I suppose, other Man United fans in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to take into the fact that I mean, she plays in Denmark, the national team of Denmark, and then you have Pernille Harder on the pitch the same time, and Denmark play now, if I'm not mistaken, they play 3-4-3. So they have like Pernille Harder in the free role in the front 3, and then they have, if they have Signe Bruun on, she will play the central striker position. Then you have a player like Stine Larsen, perhaps, out on the wing, or Nicoline Sørensen, who's also good out on the wing. So, I mean, Signe Bruun is on the pitch there to be in the box to score when they feed her the balls. And that's, right. So, I mean, that's what I was kind of also when you heard the rumors about Stina Blackstenius going to Manchester United, and then you got Signe Bruun, and I thought, yeah, okay, maybe Signe Bruun is not as good yet as Stina Blackstenius, because Signe Bruun hasn't had regular playing time in the clubs she has played in before, but they are kind of the same. And Stina Blackstenius, she is not a winger. Not at all.
But then you could turn around and say Martha Thomas isn't a winger really, but it's that fluid that he said he wants. If, for
and
example,
that's why they signed Martha Thomas, because perhaps she was that player. That's what I mean. And then you probably not, but of course you want a number 9. So they were searching for that, like Stina Blackstenius, then they didn't get Stina Blackstenius, so maybe, okay, Signe Bruun is on the market and she's a proper number 9. That doesn't mean that when you have recruited into a team before that you see these abilities. Like Martha Thomas, maybe, yeah, she was a number 9. She played in West Ham before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she is a good number 9 for Scotland. I mean, I saw the last game Scotland played, and those runs she made inside the box and scored. But she may also have the abilities to play on the wing. I would not say that Stina Blackstenius is a good fit to play on the wing. So maybe you guys didn't, with the way Manchester United looks like now, maybe you didn't miss out on a player when not signing Stina Blackstenius. I'm just saying. Yeah. Not that she isn't good. She's very good. It's not what I'm saying, but how Marc Skinner wants to play.
But what I will say though, just 1 second, Andy, when it wasn't Marc Skinner who signed Martha Thomas, it was Casey Stoney. She got, I mean, when Martha Thomas came in, she had that number 9 on her back. We all know
there
Casey
you have your answer, because Casey Stoney liked to play wide. She liked to play with the wide. She liked to do. She instructed her players to play like the pitch was very wide. She wanted the pitch to go wide. Marc Skinner doesn't all the time wants that. I know this.
Oh, we
Let's
do as
just
well.
No, no, I'm not denying
say
that you
leave
don't
it
know
like
it.
that. Yeah.
I'm not denying, but what I'm saying is, you're saying, oh, Brun will just stay centrally, but is that how the way he now wants to play? If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And it kind of like you have played Signe Bruun for a couple of games. It didn't work out. It was not her fault because you had to change the system and the way they played. Now she has not been on the pitch, and Manchester United has gone back to scoring, being very fluid and have a lot of goal scorers, not just relying on one player to score. So it will be very interesting to see what happens when Signe Bruun gets back now into the team.
Just from what you were saying, I'm just taking the opportunity to learn a bit more about obviously Brun. Obviously, if she's on with in Denmark with Pernille Harder, and she's got these, more senior, like obviously very experienced players, do you think there's an element of like, because she's having to take more? Now, as you said, she's now the main attraction. She's our Stina Blackstenius. Do you think that's a bit of a learning curve for her, because she knows that if she's fit, she's going to play, and she's no longer going to be on the bench. And if this goes well, she could be a starter for Man United going next season if we get her permanently. I think there's an element of that involved.
I do think that people have to realize as well that Signe Bruun, she's not an experienced national team player. She had her breakthrough last year. I don't think she has that many senior caps for Denmark. But when they took her in to the national team and she was picked for the World Cup qualifiers last year, she did it really, really good. I mean, she scored 5 goals in a game, and we can say whatever we want about that. I think it was Malta they played. I was at that game because I photographed it in Denmark, and she was like, "You have to be. You are a good striker even if you play a bad like opposition or a lower ranked opposition. You don't score 5 goals. The goals she did if you don't take the runs and time them. That's what she's good at.
Do you think that obviously it's different for a forward position or the attacking position, because you need, pace and youth is a lot more important? But do you think that there's an issue because we haven't really got many, I won't use the word older players, but obviously Diane Caldwell's coming at 33 and has really sort of given a bit of stability, and a lot of the young defenders can look up to her, and she's got great experience. As you say, because we've got a lot of youth that are brilliant. I mean, Tooney's on fire. Do you think that we're missing that slightly older striker, that later 20s, 30, 31-year-old striker that would have helped with the development of Brun and Russo?
I just think that's, I mean, this is where you guys talk about you wanting to take the 3rd spot to go to the Champions League. I think in games where you really have to win, like this game matters no matter what, then you need the experience of players that have done that before. I think that can help. I'm not saying it will work out without those players, but you need those players in crucial moments of the season to take another step. Like we probably, it's not it won't be too sure. I won't be too sure about this, but let's play with the thought that when Chelsea and Manchester United will go up against each other in the last round of the Women's Super League this season, then that game can be crucial for Manchester United to get their Champions League spot, while it can be crucial for Chelsea to win the league. Then we know that Chelsea has players that have played games like that before, and they have done that. They have played under pressure. They know what to expect and what to do, and they have a mix of young players and more experienced ones. So I think, yeah, that could be?
I just want to talk about Brun, and you talk about that experience, but she's come off the bench for PSG and scored the goal that won them into the next round against Arsenal. She's obviously won the league with Paris. Then she got her move to Lyon, and you talk about sort of when she came into the Denmark team and scoring all those goals. She had to do that, you know. She had to take her chance because it's very experienced in the Denmark. And I just look at the games. Arsenal, I think she did well. I look at the City game and I look at the chance towards the end when we were 1-0 down. When it was, I'm not saying it's her fault, but there was a ball played across. I don't know if you remember, Mia. I don't know if you remember, Andy. There was a ball played across the box, and you could say, you know, she should have been there, scored that, you know. And I feel like if we're going to change, because at the minute, I think that the fluid way is the best way. I feel like this is where we get the best from United. And I feel like if Brun doesn't or cannot fit into that, I'm not saying she can't, I don't know, or does, you know, wants to be that more central and everyone plays it through her and everyone looks at her to score. Whereas I feel like now we're in a position where anyone can score. You know, there was chances where Martha Thomas was as the 9, and then it was Russo as the 9, and then it was Leah as the 9. And I just feel like Manchester United currently, the way I've seen it, it is best when it's more fluid. And maybe Stina would have scored more goals if, you know, we've seen Arsenal, she's been scoring, you know, she came on, she scored the goal against Manchester United. I mean,
and then you see Stina Blackstenius like yesterday when they play Brighton, all of a sudden she starts to score because you have that fluidity in like I'm obviously a fan of the fluid game because I'm a Chelsea fan, and sometimes when Chelsea are at their best, you can't be too sure on who's playing what position. All of a sudden you're like, okay, what formation is this, and who is playing the number 10? Oh, now Pernille Harder is out wide, and this player is there, and then they go full force and they attack, and then they are very fluid, they move around. Like, I like that. I like that type of football. That's probably why I sort of picked up on that change in Manchester United's play before Christmas, because all of a sudden there was like going full force. But when you play like that, you have to have that holding midfield, because when you go full force, you can be like caught in those areas. So I think that's probably one of the WSL teams like weakness if you look around Europe. It's the midfield. Like, you don't have that. I mean, obviously no other team has that midfield that Barcelona have, but we can look at Lyon, and then you can look at Wolfsburg as well. They have that. It's a balanced midfield with midfielders that can play both attack but also defense.
Yeah. I want to just go back as well to the forward. Not that we don't hear what you're saying, but we've had those midfield debates. But Andy, I see you as very much in the camp of you know, Russo not on the wing, and I mean, you said about going forward and backwards, you'd rather just be up front. What did you enjoy that Russo performance though? Last, you know, on Saturday against Reading, because it was that movement and she was fluid. So when people say, oh, she's not a winger, but we did see her in the wing, if you get what I mean. And, you know, I look at that Brighton, we did see her on the wing, and Villa, we did see her on the wing. So you say she's not a winger, but then sometimes the best sort of, you know, her goal came from being outside the box. So Go on.
Yeah, no, it's funny, isn't it? It's like the end of any kind of DL debate. Sometimes the answer normally is both. And what I think maybe what maybe we should sort of put a cap on it. This might be where Mia might agree with me. She's not just a winger. Might be a more accurate way of putting it. Because if I think about someone who is mainly a winger, Leah Garland, she was pretty much level with the penalty spot at some points on Sunday. She came right inside, and she was a good attacking threat as she got more and more confident. I think the issues that we had, and maybe they were more complicated than, as you say, the surface level that we can see, passionately on the sidelines. Where I think against City she was on the wing, and it just felt like she was getting nowhere. So your initial reaction was, right, okay, well, she must be better where we normally like her, where she gets somewhere. But at the end of the day, we're playing Man City or we're playing Chelsea, and it might be maybe more to do with that. But I think really, as you say, just before Christmas, I remember having a chat, a brief chat with Martin Howe after Everton, and he was saying the players are now getting it and now understanding it, which makes me do think that maybe there was an element of understanding what Skinner wants to play. And there definitely was a difference between pre and post Brighton. I mean, we put a lot of pressure on him in Brighton. We were not happy bunnies about Marc Skinner. And suddenly, I think anybody who's ever played for midfield for Man United got a game at the same time. We just had this massive midfield just to get the win. And then we had a good run of games. And then it was Christmas. And then, not so bad in January. February was very difficult. And what we saw on Sunday was a more fluid situation where some periods of time Russo was on the wing, other periods of time she sort of was more central and scored. I don't think anyone has a problem with that. It's probably, as you say, beneficial from a defense point of view or an opposing coach point of view. If you have two players on the pitch that can alternate, right, I'm switching, I'm going out to the wing. It's harder to set your defense up. It's harder to decide who you're going to have in that position. But I think maybe the actual answer is that maybe Skinner's not switching. You might put her on the wing with that in mind, but then he's keeping her in that position in a game where they should switch. So I'm kind of liking what Mia's saying. Maybe it is the more development of the fort there that it is that fluidity that's needed.
And that's just what then, I suppose, that's why I sort of brought up Bruun before, because can she play that fluid? Can she be that kind of player too?
Maybe it might be helpful, for me and yourself, for us to look at what we don't like as Man United fans, because when Skinner first came, we were used to, maybe because of the way Casey played, we were used to Leah and Hannah just like a freight train down the wing, fast down the wing and whip it in. And then what started to happen was they would cross the halfway line, or sort of 2/3 in the opposition half. They would sort of turn around and stop. And it just felt very disjointed, and we're like, go on, what's going on? And I think the Man United that I fell in love with is a fast-paced counter-attacking team, which uses its wingers, that uses speed and pace. And then Skinner initially, I think maybe to get this kind of triangle thing he's got going on embedded, tried to slow it right down, and it felt very unnatural. I say watching Leah stop, turn around, and suddenly lose the ball because we've not got any pace anymore because we've just stopped. And maybe we are still developing into a situation where I know on Saturday and more recently we have played with more pace, but still that technical Skinner ball that he likes. So maybe it is a possibility that we are still just developing through to the way Skinner wants to play.
Yeah, I think also I actually like when Marc Skinner talks about being aggressive. Like, if you lose the ball, you have to be aggressive when you play teams like Manchester City. We take that for example. If you don't dare to take those fights one-on-one, you won't win any games with the football he wants to play. So I think also it's not always about the fact that Russo might be invisible when she play on the wing in a game like that because she is on the wing. It's more like the fact that if the whole team don't perform, because we don't know, we have absolutely no idea what he is telling them in the dressing room, like he can have, Russo might have that role that she will, her teammates might have that instruction, like get the ball to Russo wherever she is. If she plays on the wing, if she plays as a 9, doesn't matter. She is the one that we will rely on to score. Let's play with that thought now. But if the rest of the team doesn't perform, then it doesn't matter if she will play as the number 9 in a game versus Manchester City or on the wing. She's gonna get isolated if the other players don't do their job. And I thought it was kind of significant in that game, because in that game none of the Manchester United players did that. They acted like they had respect for Manchester City whenever they had the ball, instead of just a couple of weeks before, no one could get past through the midfield. Like they were like straight away when they lost the ball, they were going for it to take it back.
I mean, I think psychologically it is important. I noticed Skinner's mentioned psychology as well, and I also watched Barca yesterday, and yeah, it's like a Pepsi advert. I mean, they're just on a different planet, when they play, and we just got aim to be like that one day, hopefully, But I think it's one of those, isn't it? So I suppose maybe the answer to the question about winger or centre, like where do you see her developing? So you mentioned about how Signe Bruun reminds you of Blackstenius, that she's like a young, it's almost like previous, Blackstenius is further down the line, that she's sort of early Blackstenius. So
yeah, because Blackstenius, she has experience.
So So what I'm saying is, so what's mid to late stage Russo? Where do you see her? Do you see her as an established winger that occasionally cuts in and scores, or do you see her developing into the striker that some of us think she is?
I'm gonna. This is not a proper like comparison, but look at the player like Jessie Fleming. She's also young, and she is used in many positions in Chelsea. So, and then when you speak to her, I mean, it would be very, very, very interesting to ask Russo herself, how do you see yourself as a player? Like, because when you ask that question, like, and then you ask Jessie Fleming that question, and she says, yeah, I see myself as an 8. But then she has played on the right wing and she has done it really well, and then she has played like probably like a 6 as well, I think. So when I look at Russo as a player, I see a player that will do great no matter what, because she's a great player and she will take on the role given to her, or the task even in a game. Like in this game, you have this role and this is your responsibility, and so I think that I think I'm enjoying to see Alessia Russo play different position in Manchester United's attacking line, because she will score no matter where she plays if the rest of the team performs. That's what that's what I see. I see her as that kind of player. She will do the job no matter where she plays.
100%.
Not every player can do that.
Yeah, I mean, the way I just, I suppose, look at it now, and I mean, as I don't know what Andy thinks, and Amir, just this one last point before I go. I look at the men's team and I look at the way that they played before with Ollie. Ollie last year, we did quite well, and I think it was very fluid. We had Martial and Rashford and this and that, and I think everyone sort of said we just need that one on the right wing and it's going to be finished. And then Sancho came in, and then obviously they brought in Ronaldo, who is a out and out, he will score goals, like boom, no doubt about it. And a lot of people have and I don't think this is the case, but a lot of people have said Ronaldo is the reason, because we don't have that fluidity anymore. We are just all looking to push it up to a focal point instead of the quick movement and the quick passes and the counter attack. We're just looking to cross a ball into a box now more than move. And I'm not saying that this is the same, but then that's where I can see similarities with the Bruun coming in, because I feel like she's a class player and she'll do very well, but it's all about putting it up to her rather than moving the ball quickly the way we were.
I'm also gonna add that what I do think that a player like Signe Bruun is, if we're gonna compare her to a player like Stina Blackstenius, is that the Swedish head coach, he always says that Stina Blackstenius is our first and best defender off the ball. She is the one that will start defend when we lose the ball or when the opponents start their build up. You can see that if you watch the games that Signe Bruun has been playing for you, then you can see that the shape of Manchester United, the shape of the whole team, it's very structured when you have a player like Signe Bruun up front, when she is the first defender. You can pay attention to that detail when you have the other players playing and not Signe Bruun, because I do think that's the job of a proper number 9 as well. You're gonna press, and you can see Stina Blackstenius, that's probably her best ability.
I do agree. But Bruun does press well, and that's what I think we did see even at Arsenal, even though people probably saw Lessie as the forward and Lessie doing a lot of the movement. I think we played well against Arsenal, but Bruun was that focal point. But I do think she did move. But then the City game, it just became too static, I think. The first City game, the second one we don't even talk about, but yeah.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's like people always watch a goal scoring position like number 9. We often talk about it just when on the ball, but look at the proper number 9, like off the ball as well, because that's the player that will start like defending.
I just want to, before we wrap it up, I just want to say my opinion is I see Alessia as like an outside forward. I don't see her as a winger, because I don't think she can go up and down, and that's what I think Mark likes his wingers to do. I think that's why he brought on Kirsty Hansen, because I think she can go up and down, and I know he wants Leah to go up and down as well. When I say up and down, I mean like you said about that full-back thing. And I think once Lessia is sort of playing as a right full-back, I don't think she's going to protect Bache or Hannah as much as, say, a Hansen or a Leah will do, because I think they're more used to that and they know that a bit better. But I say she's an outside forward, whereby she plays up top, but she doesn't play as centrally, and she can drift along the whole line kind of thing. Andy, I just want to come to you. Do you agree? What's your thoughts on when I've just said that? Do you think are you still set on the 9 winger? What's your thoughts?
No, I mean, as I said previously to Vera, I think, when I said about her being both, her being fluid, I suppose that is what the outside forward is. It's off to the side. It's not a winger. It's not a forward. It's being that sort of ability to switch. I was just listening to what you were saying about Bruun as well, and that maybe it is just we're just getting a bit impatient as United fans. We've got some great youth here. We've got, you were saying how you're excited to see how Russo develops. Obviously, as you say, Bruun's got development to do, hopefully with Man United, and I hope if you look at look at the fact she was at the men's game. You like to think that's because she likes the culture, and she, you wouldn't necessarily do that if you were going away again in 6 months back to Lyon. But maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see there. But I do think it's important as well. I mean, I kind of caught my train of thought a bit about Barca, because I was thinking about, we've yet to beat Chelsea, and I think what I've noticed with Barcelona is that normally the other team gets one decent chance a game. But then suddenly they go, oh my God, I'm on goal against Barcelona. And then they trip over the ball, or they miss it, and then that's the end of that kind of thing. And that's the extreme end of the thing. I think to an extent, and we're getting easier and easier because we're getting closer and closer, we still have that with Chelsea. Oh God, we could win this. Oh God, if we beat them now, then we could end up in a Conti Cup final. And I'm hoping, I know you were saying about Chelsea fans, you might hope the opposite. The dam just needs to burst. We just need to beat Chelsea once. And maybe that will break that psychological barrier and help with that development, and make us a bit more of a, as you say, a top 3 team rather than at the minute. I think I came up with it on Sunday that we're kind of team 3.5. We're not really the 3rd team yet. We're not really 4th. We're trying with a little engine that could, and hopefully we'll get there this season.
I actually do think that Manchester United is a top 3 WSL team, because you can see glimpses of them play at that level. So it's not the fact that they aren't, because they are a top team. They are one of the top teams in the WSL. I truly believe that, because it's Manchester United we're speaking about. Come on. But I do think, because I actually heard the Linköping coach André Jägler speak about exactly what you said now, because Linköping played against FC Rosengård, and it was a group stage final to reach the semi-final in the Swedish Cup. And everyone knows that the FC Rosengård is the best team in Sweden. Right. But Linköping had a lot of chances to score in the first half, but they didn't. And if you don't take your chances, like when you need it, and that's what probably differs Manchester United from Chelsea, Manchester City, and Arsenal at the moment, is that those 3 teams, they take their chances to score in games that matters. And Manchester United has yet to do that. They have to take the chance to do it when they are given, it's given to them. So
100%. Hopefully, I mean, we see Signe running. Hopefully we see her playing now these next few games, build it up, and so that they're in a place, we're in that momentum going into the City Chelsea game, to have her be the one who takes the chances. Because for me, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and name which chances. I think we all know Arsenal was our best, closest that we've ever come to beating a big team. And, I'm not going to say what it felt like, but, I'm seeing it again. Like what you said, Mia, we are a top 3 team. I think we are a Champions League team. I think we can go against teams in the Champions League and beat them. Yeah. I mean, we know we can beat City because we've done it. We did it as a first year as a WSL side. So it's just, I suppose, we've beaten Arsenal as well. We've beaten Arsenal in the league at home. We've beaten them away in the cup. It's just
Chelsea. It's just Chelsea left. So
yeah. So even if they're going for the league, we're here to upset the party, I suppose. But thank you guys. Thank you, Mia. Thank you, Andy. Hopefully you don't see the hiccups. But no, like, share, subscribe, catch us on all your podcasts, and we've got more big ideas, big podcasts coming soon. So keep following us and share with your mates if you enjoyed what you heard today. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Mia, do you just want to shout out your podcast as well?
Yeah, because tomorrow, like, if this probably is this podcast being released tomorrow? No. Okay, but Tuesday,
well, if it is, go on, tell people where they can find it.
Tuesday, listen to their pitch, because it's a great interview with Fridolin Arolfa.
And keep listening to their pitch, because I'm sure there'll be great interviews with more people, Mia, isn't it, that we want to hear from. So
Manchester United fans are going to be happy.
Yeah, there you go. So subscribe to their pitch as well. And Andy, where can people find you, or if they want to, suppose, hear more of your views?
Yeah,
definitely on the Friday nights, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got Talking Reds on a Friday night now. Obviously, on this channel, only want United. Try and make as interactive as we can with people in the comments as well. That's definitely the best way. Obviously, my sort of personal Twitter's on there as well. It's getting more and more Man United focused these days, but technically it still is my personal Twitter. Maybe that's why it happens, isn't it, Nat? Either on that, or as I say, on a Friday, 7:00 with me and Maisie and panelists as well.
Yeah. So, but definitely check out Only One United, because we're always interacting. We're always looking for more stories. So, thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.